Hello everybody. Today I'm going to discuss. We'll start advanced Java, and in advanced Java, I'm going to cover JDBC, servlets, and JSP. Uh, so first of all, before knowing about JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. Before knowing about JDBC, we need to understand some. You need to understand some points. If a front-end application wants to connect with the Oracle database, then the front-end application must use set of functions given by the Oracle. But the problem with the above approach is the front-end application becomes database dependent. Why? Because it is using only Oracle database. And in the above approach, if you want to change to another database, then in the front-end application, we need to do the changes. That means remove the functions given by the Oracle and use the functions given by the new database or other database. In order to overcome the drawbacks of the above approach, that is, in order to make the front-end application as database independent, then a group is formed with professionals with the topmost MNCs called as XOpen group or XOpen community. But the XOpen group created a set of functions where these functions are used by the front-end application, and the implementation of these functions should be provided by the database vendors. The XOpen group named its functions as XOpen CLI, that is call level interface. The database vendors rejected the XOpen group suggestions because the implementation of XOpen functions need a coupler and a low-level coding like a assembly level language. After XOpen group failed, Microsoft formed a new group called as ODBC group. ODBC stands for Open Database Connectivity. The ODBC group suggested a set of functions to make a front-end application as database independent. This API, that is set of functions, is accepted by almost all of the database vendors because ODBC implementation requires C programming with pointers. The ODBC group is success and makes front-end application as database independent. But if a front-end Java application uses ODBC, then we get following two problems. What are these two problems? ODBC implemented in C pointers, but Java does not support pointers. So for Java to ODBC communication, the JNI is used. Java native interface is used. It converts non-pointers into pointers coding and vice versa. This makes the database connectivity very slow. If Java uses ODBC, where Java is platform independent and ODBC is platform dependent, then Java application also becomes a platform dependent. This is violating the principle of Java. So in order to overcome the above drawbacks and to make a Java application as both platform independent as well as database independent, Sun Microsystem released JDBC technology. Now comes here the JDBC. Now what is a JDBC? JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. JDBC is a Java API to connect and execute the query with the database. And JDBC is an API and a specification used to transfer the data between a Java application and a database. JDBC is not a separate platform, it is inbuilt technology of Java. That is, JDBC is a technology which acts as a vehicle to exchange the SQL statements between Java and the database. Sun Microsystem given JDBC technology to two groups of people. Who are those two people? First one is the application writers or the programmers and the driver writers. Who are application writers? For application writers, Sun provided API, and for driver writers, the Sun provided JDBC specifications. The Java programmers use JDBC API, and this API contains following two packages. What are these two packages? Java.sql and javax.sql. And next is the who are the driver writers? Driver writers will provide the implementation by the interfaces given by the following set of rules and suggestions. And JDBC is not a separate programming language or not a software and not an operating system. JDBC is a technology that belongs to J2SE module, and it is the inbuilt technology of JDK software. Now, what is a JDBC driver? A JDBC driver is a software program that acts as a mediator between Java application and the database. And JDBC driver contains implementations for the interfaces by following the rules and suggestions. While creating the JDBC drivers, the vendor comprises the vendor may use totally Java coding or may use partially Java coding and partially native coding. If a driver is 100% implemented in Java programming, only then we call it as a pure Java driver. If a driver is implemented partially using Java coding and partially using native languages like C and C++, then we call it as a partial Java driver. In JDBC, the drivers are given by the following three people, that is database vendors, third-party vendors, and Sun Microsystems. If a database company is only providing JDBC driver, then we call that driver as a database vendor driver. And Oracle has provided one partial driver called OCI and one pure driver called thin driver for connecting from Java program to Oracle database. And we call these drivers as database vendor drivers. If a JDBC driver is provided by another company for communicating a Java program with a database, then we call that as a third-party vendor. A company has created a JDBC driver for communicating from Java to Oracle database. This driver we call it as a third-party vendor drivers. And Sun Microsystems provided a driver for testing whether a Java program is accessing the database or not. So this unprovided by driver is only for testing purpose, but it is not suitable for real-time environment. This is a type 1 driver. Now we'll see there are four types of JDBC drivers. First one is the JDBC ODBC bridge driver. Second one is the native API partially Java driver. Third one is the net protocol pure Java driver. And fourth is the native protocol pure Java driver. Here type 1 and type 2 drivers are partial Java drivers. And type 3, whereas type 3 and type 4 drivers are called pure Java drivers. And type 1 driver is the slowest driver among all the types, and type 4 driver is the fastest driver. Type 1 and type 3 drivers are the database independent, and type 2 and type 4 drivers are database dependent. Now I'll explain each driver one by one. First is the JDBC ODBC bridge driver. This driver converts the JDBC calls into ODBC calls while connecting with the database. This driver converts non-pointer programming into pointer programming. And this type 1 driver is given by Sun Microsystems, and it automatically comes along with the software, JDK software. And this type 1 driver directly does not connect with the database. Instead, it connects with the ODBC first, and ODBC driver connects with the database. So this type 1 driver connects with the ODBC driver, and then the ODBC driver connects with the database. And type 1 driver is converting first the JDBC API into ODBC, and so it is called as a bridge driver. And This type 1 driver internally uses a ODBC driver to the database to connect with the database. So we call type 1 driver as database independent driver. What are the advantages of type 1 driver? Type 1 driver automatically installed along with JDK software, so we do not require any separate software installation into our system. And this driver can be used to connect with any database that supports ODBC. And this driver can connect with multiple databases because it internally uses ODBC. But what are the disadvantages or drawbacks of type 1 driver? Type 1 driver is the slowest driver because of conversion. And this driver is not portable driver because it is database independent but platform dependent. This driver is not suitable for real-time application. So, so what is the next driver? Next driver is the, excuse me, next driver is the type 2 driver. What is a type 2 driver? Type 2 driver is a native driver or native API driver. So, native API partially Java driver is a partial Java driver. That is, the driver program is partially written in Java and partially written in native languages like C and C++, and it does not use ODBC driver direct. That is, it connects directly with the database. So type 2 driver is faster than type 1 driver. And this type of JDBC driver converts JDBC API into native API of the database in order to communicate from Java to the database. And these type 2 drivers are database dependent because the driver internally uses the native API of the database. And the native API of the Oracle is called OCI, Oracle Call Interface. And the driver uses the OCI for connecting with the Oracle database. So the same driver cannot be used for connecting with another database. That is, for each database, separate drivers are required. And this type 2 driver directly establishes a connection with the database. It means it doesn't use any other mediator driver to open the connection with the database. And what are the advantages of this type 2 driver? Type 2 driver is comparatively faster than type 1 driver. What are the disadvantages? Type 2 driver is database dependent and also platform dependent since it is partly Java driver. And type 2 drivers are non-portable drivers. And type 2 driver is not suitable for real-time applications. And this does not come along with the JDK software. What is the third one? Oracle OCI driver. Sorry, what is Oracle OCI driver? Oracle database vendor has given a native driver for connecting the Java and Oracle database called as Oracle OCI driver. And this OCI driver uses the Java API and C programming API for connecting Java and the Oracle database. And the Oracle database vendor has provided two drivers for connecting Java to Oracle database. One is the OCI driver or type 2 driver and the thin driver or the type 4 driver. Then what is the third one? Network protocol driver. What is this network protocol driver? And okay, third one is the network protocol driver. Fourth one is the thin driver. So Is a type 4 driver. Type 4 driver is a native protocol pure Java driver. That is, own protocol of Oracle is a two-task common protocol. This driver directly connects the Java program to the database. This driver uses native protocol of the database in order to connect a Java program with the database. This driver is direct communication to the database and it does not convert the JDBC calls into any other type of the calls. And this driver uses the IP address of the database system and port number of database server to connect to the database. And the protocols are different from one database to another database. So that driver will also be different. And this driver, that is type 4 driver, is 100% written in Java. So this driver is a platform independent driver. And what are the advantages of this type 4 driver? This driver is the fastest driver among all the JDBC drivers. And this driver is suitable for interact based applications, and this driver is a portable driver because it is platform independent, and this driver can be used to connect with a database available anywhere in the globe across the network, and this driver is suitable for production environment, that is real-time applications. That is, for real-time applications we use only type 4 driver. And what are the disadvantages of this type 4 driver? This driver is database dependent driver. And what is the next one? Type, okay, I didn't discuss about type 3 driver. What is a type 3 driver? Okay, type 3 driver is a network protocol driver. Okay, now I'll discuss about so by the help of JDBC API, we can save, update, delete, and fetch data from the database. It is like a open database connectivity provided by Microsoft. And Java.sql package contains the classes and interfaces for JDBC API. And here are the list of popular interfaces of JDBC API. What are those? The first one is the driver interface. Second one is the connection interface. And we have third one statement interface. Fourth one is the prepared statement interface. And fifth one is the callable statement interface. And sixth one is the result set interface. Seventh one is the result set metadata interface. And eighth one is the database metadata interface. And ninth one is the rosette interface. So total we are having 9 interfaces in the java.sql package. And list of popular classes of JDBC API are driver manager class, blog class, clog class, and types class. Now, before JDBC, ODBC API was the database API to connect and execute the query with the database. But as I discussed just now, ODBC API uses the ODBC driver, which is written in the C language. That is, it is platform dependent and unsecured. Why? Because it uses pointers. That is why Java has defined its own API, that is JDBC API, that uses JDBC drivers written in Java language. So what is the use of this JDBC API? We can use JDBC API to handle the database using Java program and can perform the following activities. What are the activities we perform with the JDBC API? We can connect to the database, we can execute the queries and update the statements to the database and retrieve the result received from the database. Now I discussed about these drivers. And type 3 driver is a network protocol driver. See, this network protocol driver uses middleware, that is application server, that converts JDBC calls directly or indirectly into vendor specific database protocol. It is fully written in Java. So what are the advantages of type 3 driver? For type 3 driver, no client-side library is required because of application server that can perform many tasks like auditing, load balancing, logging, etc. And what are the disadvantages of type 3 driver? The network support is required on the client machine and requires database specific coding to be done in the middle tier, and maintenance of network protocol driver becomes costly. That is, type 3 driver is costly. Why? Because it requires database specific coding to be done in the middle tier. And this type 4 driver I discussed already. Now what is Java database connectivity? There are 5 steps to connect any Java application with the database. That is, how do you connect Java application with the database using JDBC driver? And what are the steps required? There are 5 steps. The first step is register the driver class. Second step is create connection. Third step is create statement. Fourth step is execute queries. Fifth step is close the connection. Now, how do you register the driver class? You can register the driver class using the furname method of the class. And, this furname method of the class is used to register the driver class. This method is used to dynamically load the driver class. And Java program is loading Oracle driver. For example, if you use a Oracle driver to establish a database connection, then this is the syntax for registering the driver class. That is class.furname method is used here. Class.furname of oracle.jdbc.driver.oracle driver. This is the driver which is used here, Oracle driver. Next is create the connection. How do you create the connection? Using get connection method. The get connection method of driver manager class is used to establish connection with the database. Now what is the syntax for that? Connection con equal to driver manager dot get connection. This get connection method is available in driver manager. And inside get connection you should pass the URL, username and the password. What is the URL? This JDBC colon for Oracle driver. This is the URL. JDBC colon Oracle colon thin colon @ localhost colon 1521. This 1521 is the port number for Oracle. Colon XC is the data source name. And system is the username and this is the password. And the third step is create the statement object. How do you create the statement object? Using create statement method. So the create statement method of connection interface is used to create the statement. The object of statement is responsible to execute queries with the database. So syntax for creating the statement object is statement stmt, that is statement object is equal to pon.create statement. And the fourth step is execute the query. The execute query method of statement interface is used to execute queries in the database. And this method returns the object of result set that can be used to get all the records of a table. So syntax for executing the query is result set rs is equal to statement dot execute query of write the query inside this, that is select start from EMP. Then while the rs dot next begin system.out.println rs.getInt of 1 means the first this is the first column in the this EMP table. This is the first parameter. And rs.getString of 2 means second parameter of the EMP table. Next, close the connection object. Last step is closing the connection object. By closing the connection object, statement and result set will be closed automatically. So the close method of connection interface is used to close the connection, and syntax for closing the connection is con.close. So these are the 5 steps which are used to which are used for Java application to connect with the database. Now, how do you Java connect with MySQL? Java database connectivity with MySQL. To connect Java application with MySQL database, we need following 5 steps again, same steps. Here in this example, we are using MySQL as the database. So we need to know the driver of the MySQL. That is the driver class of MySQL database is com.mysql.jdbc.driver. And what is the URL of the MySQL database? URL is jdbc colon mysql colon localhost colon 3306 is the port number for MySQL. And this is the database name. Sono is the database name. And we may use any database. In such case, we need to replace the Sono with our database name. And username, the default username for MySQL database is root, and password is given by the user at the time of installing the MySQL database. And here we are going to use root as the password. So I'll stop here. I'll continue in the next class. Okay, thank you.